Welcome to the Microsoft Patch Tuesday webinar from May 2011 from Secunia. My name is Stefan Frei, Research Analyst Director at Secunia. So, yesterday's patch day was rather light compared to last month, so we have two bulletins for in total 3 different vulnerabilities. Microsoft rates the criticality of those bulletins as one bulletin important, one bulletin critical. We have a slightly different view, so by us the criticality is one bulletin highly critical and one is considered less critical. So all those vulnerabilities were reported to Microsoft privately. And the products affected is from one bulletin Windows Server operating systems. This is 2003 and 2008 server, and Microsoft Office for Win and Mac, specifically Microsoft PowerPoint. So let's have a look at those two bulletins. Number one, this is bulletin MS11-035. It's a Win's service response data reuse vulnerability. If you remember, the Windows Internet Name Service is a service that is designed to support net bias name requests over TCP/IP. So, with that vulnerability, Wins can be exploited to access or manipulate certain memory areas via specifically crafted replication packet. This implies that the vulnerability is accessible from or within the local network. So, local or successful exploitation may allow execution of arbitrary code, but it requires the Win service to be enabled and running. By default, this service is not installed or enabled, so this gives us some risk remediation. Secunia rates this vulnerability less critical than Microsoft, exactly because Win's service is disabled by default and it's normally only available internally. Nevertheless, it is recommended that you patch this vulnerability. Further, this vulnerability or this bulletin also replaces the previous bulletin. This is MS09-039. So if you have not yet installed the other bulletin, this is a good place to start, so you don't have to install the old bulletin. There's a workaround. You can and should block TCP and UDP ports 42 at your firewall to ensure that Win's requests and traffic cannot pass. This allows you to segregate and work around this vulnerability a bit. So the vulnerability is considered less critical. It provides system access. When successfully exploited, it is accessible through the local network. The other two vulnerabilities, those are vulnerabilities in Microsoft Office PowerPoint. It's two exploitable vulnerabilities. They are both unspecified. One is an unspecified error when making certain function calls that can be exploited, and the other one is an unspecified error that happens when specific PowerPoint files are parsed, and this also leads to memory corruption. For both vulnerabilities, successful exploitation allows execution of arbitrary code. It's notable that the most recent versions of PowerPoint Office are not affected by those vulnerabilities. Further, the new Office file validation feature or tool from Microsoft, which is installed and activated by default in the latest versions of Office 2010, can effectively mitigate the risk. We rate this vulnerability as highly critical as it is exploitable from remote, as the other vulnerabilities in today's build did provide system access upon successful exploitation. So, according to our view, we would prioritize as follows. First, the PowerPoint update. It is more important because the vulnerabilities can be exploited from remote and because of the high prevalence of Microsoft PowerPoint we find in the field. We also rated this build as highly critical, which is a higher criticality than Microsoft. Number two would be the Win's service patch. So as Win service is normally not available, or Win service is normally only available on internal network, and as it isn't installed and activated by default, this limits the number of internal targets, and we therefore put it at the second priority for this patch day. As always, short summary of those two bulletins with in total 3 vulnerabilities. We are glad that this patch day wasn't as heavy as the last one, and I thank you for your attention and talk to you next month when the June patch day is out. Thank you very much.